Hey everybody, it's Jeannie from Jeannie's Palette, and it's time for another Take 5 Friday. And this week we are doing Shabby to Fabby, and so I'm working on this pale little white Santa that I got from Hobby Lobby, and a dish, a little dessert dish that came from Goodwill. So we're going to see if we can turn those into something fabby. Did you notice that he changed he changed a little bit in his positioning and what he was holding? So it's a duplicate kind of the same white Santa, and I've painted him with Master's Touch paint. This is Master's Touch Crimson, and then we've got some different shades of green, and then some gold. That's Dixie Belle gold there that I put on the ribbon on the packages. And then we have titanium white on his fur and his hat and his hair, and of course on the candy cane. I did put some on the red. That's Craft Smart bright red, so it looks a little different. I wanted it a little bit different than his outfit. Painted his buckle with some Dixie Belle gold, and then his boots and belt are black. I see some places that I may have missed with the white, but I think that's going to be okay. I started with what I want to do here. Now for his face, I did mix that red Craft Smart paint from Michaels and white to get his flesh color, and he's kind of pink. He's a bit pink, and then he's got white, and then his eyes, I used a bamboo skewer to get his pupils and just a tiny little liner brush to get the blue, and that same little liner brush to paint his eyebrows. So I wanted to spare you the painting part. Now we're going to snazzy him up just a little bit here with some antique wax. So I'm already using this Waverly wax, and this is antique wax. So we're going to use that to highlight him and grunge him up a little bit. Not grungy. Highlight his creases and things like that. Now again, this is a playlist, a collaboration playlist. We've got several creatives in our playlist today that are going to be working on shabby, making something shabby into something fabby. I'm going to be using a wet wipe here to start on him. Now this playlist is hosted by Christy from Funky Junk Inspiration and myself, Jeannie from Jeannie's Palette. And we host these every other week. It's something different. And this week's theme is Shabby to Fabby. Now, I may decide to use a paper towel because it's not sticking on this slick part up here. So let's try that, and then if it's too much, we can wipe it off with our baby wipe. I don't want him to look dirty, you know. This Master's Touch paint does have some varnish or something, I think, mixed in it. Makes it shiny. So you can see it's very, very shiny. I like that. I still will seal it though once it dries. It's some Minwax water-based acrylic sealer. So let's get this on here and just wiping it on. And I don't want too much, so I may do a little bit and then go back in with my baby wipe. But I want to get some definition. That's what I'm trying for, so he's not so plain. Not really trying to grunge him up or change his color or anything like that, but I do want to define and see how that's already doing there. And we'll see that here in just a second with his hair. Not sure what the other ladies in the playlist will be doing today, but make sure you do stick around. Click watch the playlist. I have that link in my description so that it'll just play the next video and you don't have to even worry about going anywhere or searching for anybody else's channel. If you hit watch entire playlist, it just loops and plays them all. And we'd appreciate it if you saw something that you like, that you subscribe to all of our channels. Oh, we are working hard here at Christmas. We're Santa's elves. So here we are making something shabby into something fabby. And see how that's changing that. Now, I don't want it to be brown. I don't want to make Santa have long brown hair. I'm just trying to get in his creases with this. And so that's what I'm doing. And you see, I do have to rub a little bit hard sometimes here to get that off. I don't want to wet it too much because, you know, acrylic paint is water-based, and I don't want to end up rubbing paint off with this baby wipe. I just want to dilute it a little bit. So see how much better that's looking. I'm just getting the highlight part there off with my baby wipe. Alright, we're going to speed this up for you so we can get to our next fun project. So at this point, I wanted to stop the hyperlapse painting and just pause and let you see the difference in his half that has been antiqued or antique waxed and how much definition that is. I know there was a second he looked like he had mud on his face, but see how that wax is just defining even the outline of his eyes, making that pop more, and his beard, and down here the shadows and all inside of his belt, this side versus this side. And it's just going to give him some depth. So let's finish him up. So here he is, all gussied up. He's still got to dry a little bit, and then I'll put a varnish on top of him. But let me show you this guy. I just think he just pops so much with the antique wax added to him and wiped off in certain places, just to give him some more definition. There may be some places that I go back and touch up with some paint, but I think he looks great. I do think he was not too shabby anyway, the way he was, if you liked him like that, just plain. But I think he looks a lot more vintage and old world now with adding that wax on there. Everything just pops. Even the tree, it gets more definition with that. His bag, you can see the creases more. Everything just stands out so much. I think he looks absolutely fabby. So we did go from shabby to fabby with this guy. So here we are, how we started out, just plain white. I'm not sure what he's made out of. It's not really like a ceramic. It reminds me a lot of the pecan shell resin that from the 90s. I did a ton of Santas and nativities and pilgrims and things like that with that. I just love how he turned out. I'm going to hold off on the little dish. We may do that on another video. I'm sorry. I just, what I tried to do was not working, so I didn't want to, show you a blooper here. But he showed out fantastic. Don't forget to check out the rest of the playlist. Hit subscribe. Check out my friend Christy from Funky Junk Inspiration. She's tagged in the description as well. And come back and see us on every other Friday. We'll have a new playlist. All right. Don't forget to see beauty, and ta-ta for now.